This song was inspired by Stereolab too. When Paul played the vibraphones, like I'm a really big Stereolab fan, I was like, yes, bitch, Stereolab, I live. Let's go. Technicolor, 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 Technicolor. I dream in color, came a long way from a youngin' on the block. Now I be sitting on top, never had to do 3 hots in the cot. And that's no thanks to my pops, keep a lot of colors on deck. To paint all the pictures I seen, cause I'm gon' run shit, it's no sweat. I can see victory in my dreams, sitting in my room with the radio on, thinking how I'ma be a big star. Even though coming from the city that I'm from, people really don't make it that far. Skin deep, you can scratch the surface, but I bet you won't leave no scars. Dope boys and police lights, the canvas on which I draw. Technicolor, 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 Technicolor. I dream in color, Technicolor, bounce, Technicolor, bounce, Technicolor, Technicolor, Technicolor. I dream in color. Shot on a bitch like a pastel. Run back the tape on a max cell. A lot of people that I came up with, either laying in the box or a jail cell. I ain't never did no fuck shit. Real recognize real and I can't tell. In the hood, people getting evicted. But rich folk like to call a yard sale. Call it what you want, cause I stay in the know. I'm trying to do shit you ain't never did before. Stunt on stealth, getting money on the low. Niggas out here be mobbing, and you don't really want no problems. These bullets ain't got no name, and I ain't trying to get hacked by anonymous. Sitting in my room with the radio on, thinking how I'ma be a big star. Even though coming from the city that I'm from, people really don't make it that far. Skin deep, you can scratch the surface, but I bet you won't leave no scars. Dope boys and police lights, the canvas on which I draw. Technicolor, Technicolor, come on. Technicolor, Technicolor. Put your hands up one time. And the spirit of tradition. Technicolor, bounce, 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 Technicolor, bounce, bounce. And if you got a hater, we gonna put a middle finger up one time. We gonna shout it on them, shout it on them, ho, shout it on them, shout it on them, shout it on them. If you got a hater, make some noise in the building. Shout it on them. In 2017, that's how we gonna do it. We gonna run up to that bitch one time now. Get out on my radar. Get out the way for a spray, y'all. Ain't no other way but to go hard. Kick that when I go hard. Get out on my radar. Get out the way for a spray, y'all. Ain't no other way but to go hard. Kick that when I go hard. Sitting in my room with the radio on, thinking how I'ma be a big star. Even though coming from the city that I'm from, people really don't make it that far. Skin deep, you can scratch the surface, but I bet you won't leave no scars. Dope boys and police lights, the canvas on which I draw. Technicolor. Yes. So, you know. Now, keep in mind, Paul was high when he made this. Like,
that's not true.
Melody, you know,
okay,
so it was a little, you know, I kind of came up with the drum pattern, so I was like proud of myself a little bit.
You lied.
But yeah. But I want you to listen to the words. And also this song was inspired. You know, we see a lot of homeless people in the streets. And like, you know, when you go to Safeway, they always ask you for change and money. And I was like, bitch, that's a song concept. So I want y'all to follow me one time. Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. A lot of people never what they seem like. The smoke screen got me choking at the windpipe. Nevertheless, I'll be the best. They going on the track like I'm CSS. No stranger to hard times and DSS. When you live in the jungle, they call over west. And when you look at the people, they seem so depressed. From living under conditions, they got them so oppressed. And in my city, a rite of passage is seeing death. Clock nines, they pop eyes, they start flying. Niggas playing dress up, I call it Tower Pine. Preaching to the choir, I call it 9-9. Shout out to the queens, shout out to the dope boys. It'll never be the 80s again. I mean, you'll never see that type of money making again. So ain't no need to be kidnapping and cremating your friends. Hello? Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the world. Live on the evening news with Peter Jennings. Bombings in Syria, bloodshed in Yemen. Scoping out rebel troops with the night vision. Machine gun spitting, slumping the opposition. Tightrope tipping, I think I almost failed. The world that we live in, I think is almost hell. Angels, demons, Republicans and Democrats. Hillary Clinton, no different than Arafat. Citizens entertained by two plays, while immigrants running away from AKs. Nowadays, you gotta watch what you say. You can get killed for skin that's too beige. Power on parade, flexing like I'm China now. One wrong move will shut Wall Street down. Living in the world in a state of delusion. How you playing games with a ball of confusion? Hello? Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. Gin and juice, 150 proof. Dealing with my demons, make a nigga get the scoop. You looking for the sequel, but it's really just a scoop. The movie don't end too well for these coons. A cautionary tale, and Valley and Chanel. Throw some ice on her, her face about to swell. You thought you had a Mac, but you really got it down. Just fucking with that clown, got you drinking with it down. Set fire to the rain, or fire to the range. Go for that motherfucker, and you working with a cane. Addicted to them niggas who be cooking on the range. I'm off to the flame, I'm off to the flame. The thirst for the lights, got you hungry for the lights. Playing eagle on the floor, taking pictures for the lights. Makes it Siobhan, the drug that she on. Ain't no need of marks, the track marks is on. Hello? Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. Hey, mister, can I get a word with you? Happy to have a little change for the world, 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 for the. Music with a message. And that was brought to you by the letter B for bitch.
Hey.
So, moving on. This record is real personal. It's real. It's like a lot of revelations. If you listen to this song, you'll hear my life in so many of the words, you know? Because sometimes when you trying to be famous, because bitch, I want to be famous. You know, you had these artists talking about, I just want people to like my bitch. I need all the Chanel, bitch. The red carpets, and I don't feel bad about that. I come from a dark place, you know? I think I'm gone. Demons chasing me in my sleep, they won't leave me alone. They say that life is a bitch, she wanna take me home. That pussy wet as a fish, but you ain't getting this dick. I'm from that Baltimore city, shout out to Wayne Jones. You ain't know, I need dough. The bank rolls got me chasing them commas when I was young. All my brothers wanted to be like Mike, but I was watching Madonna. It's a material world. Everybody got a price, never turning my back, cause everybody got a knife. Money, power, bitches and respect get you hate, envy, and runners with the tech. Blah. They wanna see my lights out. How come? Police wanna see me stretched out. How come? I got a story to tell, I came up with hood bitches named after Chanel. Holy box braids, razors in the cheek. I fuck a nigga just to run his pockets when he sleep. I keep my head above water, they don't like me. Me drowning for girls, that's unlikely. My city cold as ice and I ain't telling you twice. You better run for your life, lace up them nights. I keep it dark on the swisher, light on the liquor. My best friend white, cause I'm the right kind of nigga. They wanna take me under, but I'm ready when they run up. Cause I ain't never drowning for a come up. They ask, how come, how come, how come? How come, how come, how come? And they ask, how come, how come, how come? How come, how come, how come? Cause I am what I am and I do what I do. You will not understand till you walk in my shoes and they ask, how come, how come, how come? How come, how come, how come? I need everybody to put your hands up.
Hey.
We're going to take it to church.
Come on.
Let's go. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Show me your hands.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Show me your hands.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Show me your hands.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Come on. Show me your hands. Hey.
Mama, mama, I'm ready. I'm back in the running. Look, I got love for the ghetto, but shit, I'm tired of slumming. Busting up on these haters. Who the fuck is you sonning? I need that fish in them chips. Bitches and money in London. Celebrating all my victories. Dancing on the tombstones of my enemies. They can never bury me. They call me petty cause I'm all about my fatty. When I didn't have it, ain't no motherfucker help me. Now that I'm a man, I finally understand that everything don't always go according to the plan. Sometimes you gotta walk away to keep from laying hands. When your biggest enemy, the one you call a fan. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Show me your hands.
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 We winning, I ain't giving no time to you haters. And ain't nobody stopping us now, cause we major. We winning, I ain't giving no time to you haters. And ain't nobody stopping us now, cause we major, baby.
Come on.
When I was a boy, I used to play with toys. Had a mean sweet tooth, addicted to almond joys. Twizzlers and Snickers, drinking Kool-Aid by the picture. That's why I look kinda chubby in all my baby pictures. Drinking sugar water, frozen cups, costing a quarter. On the couch with my mama watching reruns of Law and Order. Late nights playing spades on the porch. Walking with a roll of pennies to the corner store. 3822 North Rogers Avenue. Summer in the 90s watching Ricky Lake and Donahue. Your mama on crack rock. That ain't what my mama do. Looking back, I done did some things I said I
Never.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hey, show me your hands.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Show me your hands.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Show me your hands.
Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Come on. Show me your
We
hands.
winning, I ain't giving no time to you haters. And ain't nobody stopping us now, cause we major. We winning, I ain't giving no time to you haters. And ain't nobody stopping us now, cause we major, baby. Shootouts on my block, people getting right. All these years later, I'm just happy I'm alive. It seems like nothing working, but the devil want his job. My resume the truth, but they just wanna hear the lies. Who I'm kidding, I ain't cut off for no 9 to 5. Cause ain't too many chiefs out there who understand my tribe.
I want to whisper in your ear and tell you that I'm here and take you to the dance and maybe find romance, but you can't. So it's Mobtown life. I want to see the friends I miss and give my mama a kiss and get my hair cut right or just sleep through the night, but you can't. So it's Mobtown life. Mobtown life. We'll drink with you forever. Mobtown life. In dark and stormy weather. Mobtown life. What else is there to do but pandemic all together? Wednesday best. At least the top, I guess, will fly you to the moon, all up in your bedroom. It's tonight, and it's Mobtown Live.
Mobtown Live is brought to you by Unexpectedly Warm Days, with generous support from A Nice Bowl of Soup and viewers like you.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mobtown Live.
Heyo,
My name is Sarah,
I'm Michael.
and this is the weekly public access style TV show in Baltimore. Baltimore's favorite one, I presume. Shout out to Rich Colm, who did the intro video this week. Some of you have seen it before. We really appreciate the fact that he did that, a fan video of our song.
That was intense and creepy, but also erotic,
Yeah, exactly.
which is how I feel about men with hair that length. Conflicted.
So a few things. First, like and subscribe to our channel on YouTube, also on Facebook, also on Instagram. Go ahead. All it takes is a little click of a button, assuming you know how to do that. A couple other things. This is not a kids show. Tonight, we are very lucky to have some young people coming on the show to talk to us, Anaya Taylor and Young Elder. I'm so stoked. They're amazing young people. But if you are here to view the young people specifically, and you have young children with you, or you're a young child yourself, the rest of the show, all bets are off. We sometimes cuss. We're going to make a cocktail. So, and the material, generally speaking, is aimed more for adults. So for the first part of the show, stick around. The second part of the show, content warning.
Yeah.
Michael, how does this work money-wise?
It works in the following fashion. Toss us a donation if you can. Most of that money goes to the artists. All of it goes back into the show. We recommend $10 as a reasonable cover charge. If you can't afford it, please watch anyway. We wish to edify you and lift you up regardless.
Absolutely. Last week we had the Trill Billy Workers Party podcast on, and that was awesome and totally different than anything that we've had before. Next week, we are so lucky to have Delegate Juanica Fisher coming on to talk about the bill that she put in the House for reparations. And she's just like a beam of light. Talking to her is like she's one of those people that you talk to and you walk away just feeling good about yourself and everyone around you. So I'm pretty stoked on that.
I'm pumped. And this show is now the place to be for all of your local politics needs.
It is.
Thanks to you and your strange affinity for local politicians.
Yeah, I like them. I like the local politicians. What do you think, Michael? Do you have anything you want to add before we dive right into this interview?
No, just I'm excited. I don't like talking to the youths myself because they scare me, and I sometimes wonder if they bite. But I'm extremely excited to have them on the show because I think that a lot of times I get too wrapped up in sort of this, late 30s media environment of sort of hoity-toity nonsense that is very separate from what the powerhouse young people are doing. And so I want to know. I want to be educated by them.
Yeah, I'm excited to sort of get their perspective straight from their mouths instead of through the lens of media or whatever.
A think piece about
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right. So stay tuned, everyone. In just a second, we're going to have Anaya Taylor and Young Elder on.
Boom.
Trends, everybody so sleepy. Z. If it wasn't for these trends, there you go. If it wasn't for these trends, what? If it wasn't for these trends, everybody so sleepy. Z. Black girl lost, black boy lost. In class looking at the blackboard lost. Ready for a future that includes no jobs. Rotten Apple could have been the next Steve Jobs. But instead of Silicon Valley, the focus on Louis Vuitton bags and Audis, Gucci and Buscemi, sneakers with the Crocs then. You a cold-blooded boy in that long champ. Look, champ, my dreams in life, they all differ. From that young boy sitting in them clouds, get you caught up.
All right, here we are. We are so lucky today to have youth activists, Young Elder and Anaya Taylor. And when I was getting ready to intro you two, the bio was just like so prolific and long that I was like, you know what? I should let them introduce themselves. So if I think on this show, while we talk about serious things, we're all about sort of humanizing people and getting to the like, what's your deal thing. So what's your deal? Let's start with you, Elder. What's your deal?
Cool. So what's up, everybody? My name is Young Elder. I'm 19 years old. I'm a Baltimore native. I'm a freshman at Coppin State University. I'm also a youth leader, a part of Heart Smiles, Healing Youth Alliance ambassador. I also am the co-founder of my business called Quarantine Delight. So if y'all trying to get some food, make sure y'all hit me.
Yeah.
And I am also a member of the Trauma Informed Care Task Force along with Anaya. So yeah, that's me. And me, I'm really passionate about helping the youth, giving the youth a voice, giving the youth a chance, and definitely amplifying the voice of the youth and the struggles that we go through in the African American community. So, and mental health, all of that grouped into one. That's my whole deal.
Thank you. I'm so excited. Anaya, what about you? What's your deal?
What is my deal? Jesus, what is my deal? So I'm a poet. I was Youth Poet Ambassador of 2019 during a time where we were having the competition of Youth Poet Laureate. So I got that. And that's also coming up this year now too. So I am going to be slamming for that.
Congratulations.
Well. Thank you. So what else do I do? I'm an activist, student activist, as well as elder. By the way, I just am in awe of your artistic everything, Elder, amazing. But I'm also in the realm of, just wanting to not be the voice for the youth, but show that we have one, and encourage other youth to use their voice as well. I'm a director of The Youth, which is a youth-led initiative that was started or came about after the mass march that we had here in Baltimore in 2020. So the youth came out of that. And so now we are working on so much stuff that I'll probably get into a little bit later. But yeah, that's my deal.
Awesome. So why don't we start with the trauma informed task force. We've had both Mayor Scott and Councilman Cohen on the show before, and they've both talked about healing cities and about what trauma informed care is. I'm wondering, from your perspectives, what is this task force and what's your role on it?
Okay, I guess I can go first. So I'm a youth ambassador. So basically, I am here to represent the youth, the voice, like she said, the voice of the youth. And the Trauma Informed Care Task Force is basically to provide the people who are in charge of helping and assisting our community, training them properly in trauma informed care, and just letting them know it takes different approaches when it comes to, because everybody says, oh, we want the violence to stop, want the violence to stop. But what we have to realize is it's a deeper issue than just violence. So that's what we're here to do, to help people understand that and get that breakthrough about trauma.
That's awesome. Anaya, would you add anything to that?
No, only because you pretty hit it on the head. The difference between Elder and I is I'm pretty sure that she was into it before I got brought into it. And so you, Elder, probably have like a lot more information on just like the entire aspect of it. Me, really, it just came down to the idea that, we just needed people, a part of the community, to, not be in charge of the way trauma is, dealt with, more so just showing and illuminating that trauma exists and that it's an issue, and that it's the root issue to every other issue we have. And so that's just where I'm really just, we act as a bridge.
Right.
between the people that know and the people that don't, and that we're that connecting bridge, I guess we can say. So
That's
really,
really
it's really
cool.
just that for me. And I guess I don't know if I'm a youth ambassador now that I'm like on the team. I don't know how that works, but I'm a youth on a team. Yeah.
Was there a turning point for both of you when you sort of, like, I think for a lot of people, there's like, at least a lot of the people that I've met in the city, there was sort of a clicking moment when they realized, like, oh, violence comes from trauma, or at least it's informed by all this trauma. Was there a moment for both of you where you sort of switched the narrative in your mind, or is it something that you just grew up knowing?
Hmm. Interesting. I uh hmm. So I grew up in like thick of trauma, but it's funny how it was for me. You know, usually when you live in a city, it's like, oh my God, this is happening, and then there's a growth of desensitization, and it's just, you know, you become desensitized to it. I mean, for me, I wasn't born desensitized to it, but like it just never registered because, you know, if I'm growing up in this, it's just what it is.
Right.
When I was privileged with the opportunity to not be here, like to just go to a different state or go to a different city and realize like this isn't the entire world, that I've set up my reality to think that this is the entire world.
Mm.
And so when I was able to, you know, step outside of that and be like, oh, this isn't like the way things are supposed to be. What's the issue? Things just started connecting. And that was probably like around middle school that things connect. And once I got introduced to poetry, I was like, oh, people write about this. So this is obviously an issue. So yeah, that was what it was for me.
What
See,
about
for
you, Elder?
me, that's a really good question, and I'm glad she went first because she gave me a little bit of time to think about it. But it wasn't really like one moment that made me click because it took a lot. You know, for a while I was always just like, you know, why is there all this trauma? Like, why is there all this violence? Just not understanding why. But it wasn't until I was transferred from a private school to a public school in my neighborhood, and I realized like my whole life I had been in private schools. I still grew up in Park Heights, but I went to like private schools. So once I was like in the environment, I was able to see my peers and understand the struggles that they went through. It's kind of like the violence kind of made sense, I guess you could say, because
Yeah.
you know if you struggling to eat, you know, your best friend got killed. Of course, I'm gonna try to kill who killed him. You know what I'm saying? So it was
Hmm.
kind of like, okay, now it's finally starting to make sense. So once I started to do my own research and how trauma affects the brain and stuff like that, I was able to connect those things and say, wow, you know, the trauma in our city is what is striking all of this violence. And I watch I watch like Nightline and videos like that, and the police are always like, yo, we just want the violence to end. And I'm like, that's great. So
Yeah.
let's address the problem. Like the violence didn't come out of nowhere. Like it didn't just manifest out of air. Like the violence is in our community because our people are struggling. Like we're surviving. Like we're living in a war zone. And when you in a war zone, you gonna fight. Because if you don't fight, you're gonna lose. You
Right.
know? So it's like this is what we were like set up in.
That's so my that's a really amazing way to put it. And my understanding, based on what Zeke told us a couple weeks ago, is that all of this sort of came about after the shooting at Frederick Douglass High School. Were you two a part of the sort of youth initiative to say to the adults, like, you're policing us too much?
No, so I know I had already we at this time, during that time, the discussion of police officers in the school building had been very prevalent during that time.
Hmm.
And so it was a very, and me, because I go to City College, which is on, you know, opposite side of the city. um it's very interesting, not interesting, but it was crazy how that was happening at that moment where we were talking about, you know, the dangers of having police officers, you know, in our buildings. And this was during the time at my school we had like metal detectors and people checking our book bags and stuff.
Mm.
So it was crazy, and this was before the shooting even happened. And so then after that they doubled down on, you know, everything that was going on, ever getting having police officers there, having all this there. And so I wasn't a part of the students that were like, okay, you guys are like, this is too much, or whatever the case may have been. But I had been, I
It
was
was a
aware that,
conversation that was
yeah,
going on
yeah,
already.
a part of
Yeah.
a conversation around that. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, so I'm kind of on the same track as her. I was involved in conversations and like different forums and things like that, but I never was a part of the actual initiative. But I think it's very important because if you think about it, you know, if I'm going to school and I'm already traumatized, seeing police officers where I'm supposed to be comfortable is not really, it don't really help, you know. It it's kind of like
Pretty
re-traumatizing the kid.
triggering. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in your imagination, both of you, what does Baltimore City look like when we've healed our trauma?
Have we ever seen a reality?
Right. I'm like,
Because like even outside of what does it, well, I have no idea. I answer this in a certain way all the time. Usually I'm like, you know, it'll be all of us coming together, being a community, loving each other and having resources and being
Mhm.
comfortable and happy and successful and whatever that is, but I have no idea what that looks like. I just know um
this ain't it.
this
Yeah.
ain't it, right? This ain't it. So it has to be, you know, better. Just in this space, this is finally us not having to choose between the lesser of two evils. Like this is us like urging and trying to get to a better place. So I know it won't be this. And like Baltimore is, I don't want to paint the picture that Baltimore is like this, you know, place that is just awful, and no one wants to be in. And my mom's like, you have to get out of here and go to college. And I'm like, why? I don't want to. I love my city. This is who I am. It's a part of me. Um, and so it was very, you know, that's a very interesting question. What will it look like? I have no idea, but I know that it'll just be illuminated what we already have, which is if you see in the corner, some hair, that's my mother. Everyone say, hi, mom.
Hey,
Hi,
mom.
Mom.
So yeah, I know it'll just be better than this in some way, shape, or form.
I think your point that like Baltimore already has all these gems, we already are amazing. The idea that it could be illuminated and that the sort of cover of violence that gets in the way between the world seeing us as we are will be gone. That's a pretty amazing thing to think about.
Definitely. I do also think that, you know, a healed Baltimore doesn't just mean, you know, a trauma informed care Baltimore. It also means equitable Baltimore, you know, because if it was like, okay, great, we're gonna heal everybody, everybody's like, we still are living in a community that's impoverished, that, you know, we lack a lot of resources and we just lack so much. So the only way that we could really heal is if we get that equity, because I can't heal if I can't meet my basic needs, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think uh, it's interesting because I think a lot of cities and states go about it trying to address those things first. And I like that Baltimore is trying to address both, like the equity, the poverty that we have going on here, the fact that people's not just basic human needs, but even the baseline of having to, even if you're not completely impoverished, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't have time to sit around and heal yourself or
Right.
to process things.
Right.
The idea that we could get to a place where at the same time that we're healing people and trying to educate ourselves, we're also lifting everyone up out of this sort of baseline place that most of the city is in, is really
And
cool.
I definitely think it's a lot more than what it sounds like, and I've seen it. And it really like not. I took a step back to really like analyze what the things that I'm doing, because I tend to like go without really analyzing the things that I'm doing. And so we were at the swearing in when we were getting sworn in for Healing City, and Shorty, if you remember, Elder Shorty was there and he was yelling and stuff like that, you know, the mic check thing and all of that. And I was like, you know, I love Shorty and I'm not upset or whatever case may be. I know that there's a reason he's doing this. I don't know the exact reason, but I know there's a reason. And so after the whole swearing-in thing happens, I go straight to Shorty. I don't really like, that's like, he's family. He's such an important person in the community that he was the first person I wanted to see, even if he wasn't the reason that I was there. And so I go over to him and we were just talking. He was like, I'm gonna keep being out here until they hear me. And it's
Mm.
crazy that, we're in a position like where I'm in a position of so much power now, and I have no idea what to do with it, because it's like I want to help everyone, and it tends to be hard sometimes because like there's so much community and so many people that need help, and I'm just one person and Elder's just one person, and yeah, we're a collective of people, but we're all going through things at the same time. Like I always say, like, we're healers trying to heal. And it's so hard to keep that balance of like, well, I want to help them, but like, wow, how do I keep the balance? How do I help myself? Like, how do I keep myself in a position where I can help all these people without burning myself out? And so I think, while we are addressing the problems of the community, we have to also like maintain the peace within ourselves, or get the peace within ourselves. And I have to realize, like, I'm coming onto this force with trauma, um, and how can I use that to not only elevate the platform that how can I use my experience to elevate that platform, but how can I also separate myself from those experiences and not, not have to keep, you know feeding that and feeding that and feeding that. Because there are a lot of news people that be like, do you, so have you gone through trauma? Like, do you have, what trauma
Tell
have
me
you
about your
gone
trauma. We want to
through?
hear about your trauma.
With the microphone in my face. And so it's
Let-
just like,
like,
I'm so tired of, like, please, I'm bleeding it out. And so I'm starting to find the balance of like, I don't have to spill all of myself to be relevant. And I also don't have to do that in order to help other people. There can be a balance.
Y'all are both so smart, which brings me to my question. This was perfect, Anaya. Thank you. So it's obviously imperative for us to include young people's voices in conversations that directly impact them and that are their conversations. That said, you both have a lot of power, and in relative terms, it's kind of all of a sudden. And a lot of adults are looking to you, including me, and being like, what should we do? And how does this work? And, it's a lot of pressure. I was a young person in a position of power in much lower stakes conversations. And what it meant was that when I got to a point in my life where I was experimenting and wanted to, make mistakes, or didn't want to, but like needed to in order to grow up, it was hard because everyone was watching me and there was a lot of pressure. Do you all feel that? And do you have any sort of requests of the world on how we receive you and what we ask of you?
See, for me, the the fame part isn't like, not fame, but like the attention part isn't really new, because like I've been doing music for a while. And
Mhm.
it's crazy that you asked me that question, because it is weird. Like, having people, looking to you for certain answers that you might not necessarily have, or certain expectations, kind of just expecting you to be perfect when you're not, you're still adolescent, still growing. I think just patience, because that's definitely important, not just expecting like results like exactly like at that moment, give us time to process things and stuff like that. Um, just being sensitive of our feelings, because a lot of times people don't really take the time to see, even though we're talking about mental health and all that, people still don't really ask the people who are helping, how are you doing?
Mm.
And sometimes they'll be like, well, you didn't do this. Well, it's like, okay, well, let's focus on like why. Because if I'm in a position of power, of course, my job is to do what I'm supposed to do. So if that's not being met, kind of just understanding like, okay, you still human and stuff like that. Because people often forget that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the same thing for me. Like Elder said, the fame or the attention isn't new to me because I've been doing this like for some years now. Um and I've always been, a person that's always done stuff, but I do think like I think Elder hit it on the head. It's become a case of like, oh my God, you're so amazing. Like I remember, I don't know what this was, at City Hall. I forgot what it was, but they were like, Anaya, you're famous. And there's so many like politicians and people in the news camera, and they're like, oh my God, we love you, Anaya. And I'm like, ah. And
That's
it's
the
like,
perfect face. Ah.
what am I famous for? Trying to get basic human rights. Look at me, go me. I'm like a little Beyonce. Now pay me or something. I'm talking about how we are broke and students don't have money and we're impoverished, and all they say is, "Oh, you're famous and we love you, but don't give me money. Don't do it." And it's funny, but
Mm,
also
mm.
stop. There's been so many times where as a poet, I've been invited to. I hope you don't hear this background stuff. I'm sorry, but I've been invited to like plenty of performances and stuff like that, and they're paying the DJ, they're paying the cook, they're paying the dancers, they're paying the speakers, they're probably playing the equipment, but they're not paying me. They're asking me to do it for free, and it's just like I'm an artist, just like any other person. I'm a person, just like any other person, and don't think Al Sharpton, Angela Davis, John Lewis, may he rest in peace. All these people were not doing these things without a check being cut. Even, yes, it's for human lives. Yes, it's for this, yes, it's for that. But at the end of the day, like this is what I'm doing now. Like I'm not. I don't have a job. I don't have a 9 to 5. I'm not like other teenagers that have that time. I don't have that time. I'm at work, doing other kinds of work, and they don't stop to ask what can we do for you or things like that nature. And it's just even like, and then elder, that's right. Like they don't ask you how you're doing, but what we say we're bad, and what do they do? Like what's the response? Like I think there's been times where I've been in an interview and I probably candidly said I'm not okay, and it's just been like, yeah. So tell me about your work, and it's just like, all right, cool. So it's become like the biggest thing is the glamorization of like this activism. Like I don't want to do this. This isn't what I want to do. This isn't my dream job. This isn't a career that I want to have. I do it because I want to live, and I do it because we are one of the biggest minorities, and this is all we have. This is all we have. If I don't, then I'm ignoring the problem, and I'm just as bad as everyone else. So my biggest thing would just to be like, understand that this isn't something that we do for kicks. We don't do it for fun. We don't do it because we like to be on TV and we love the press and we love being known. Like, no, if we wanted the press and stuff, we just stick to our professions. We stick to being an artist. Like we're pretty good at what we do. We don't need to do anything more. But now like we're in this position where it's just like, oh my God, we love you, and we're famous for wanting to live, and we're famous for wanting resources, and we're famous for saying the things that other people can't say, and I just personally don't like it. I don't.
That's Thank you for saying that, because I can't imagine that saying those types of things for both of you is like something you enjoy having to say. And also it must be somewhat scary to say that,
Yeah.
especially to people who think they're like helping you or have camaraderie and solidarity with you. Can you tell the difference between somebody who's in your position and someone who's doing it for like as a hobby?
One quick thing I wanted to add, like she said, like this is not a job that I want to do. I do it because I have to. I do it because the youth needs a voice, but it can be really draining. It's
Yeah,
kind of like constantly talking about how my people are oppressed and my people are at the bottom. Like it's hard to talk about, and it makes me emotional and it makes me angry, but I have to kind of like regroup myself, get myself together and say, I have to be strong for my people. I have to be strong for the youth. I have to say the things that need to be said, but nobody wants to. I don't want to have to say this. I don't
right.
want to this for this to even be a topic, but it is. So it's definitely like difficult, especially when people are like, "Yo, you're so great." I'm like, "Yo, I don't want to talk about like this is like I
Right.
appreciate you. I
I want
do."
to be great for my music and my poetry and who I am as a
Yeah, like
person.
oh my gosh. I
Yeah,
feel like if we were recognized like if we were recognized as much, not that we're not recognized with our professions and stuff like that, because I knew about Elder before I met Elder, but if we were recognized as much for our poetry, for our artistry, as we were for our activism, we would make bread. I know this for a
Yeah.
fact. If we were on TV for the profession that we had, as much as we were on TV for the activism that we would be not swimming in wealth, but we would have a good follow. We would be the famous people that they say. And I've seen, going to your question about the people who do it like us, and the people who do it just to do it. There are people who own the Black Lives Matter movement is a really big indicator of that. They only there are a lot of Black Lives Matter movements that only pop out when it's prevalent. When George Floyd happened, that's
Mhm.
when it started back up again. We don't like it's not we don't see a lot of people every day posting the Black Lives Matter. And sometimes there are people who can just post, and there are people who choose to just post. Um, and those people, they really only post when everyone else is posting. And there are people who only show up for the cameras. I've seen it. I've been in it.
Yeah.
I've
I've
seen
been
it.
there. There's so many who just show up for the cameras and who have so much, who get all this credit and everyone loves them, but they're literally only there for the cameras.
Mhm.
Because when if the cameras are
Yeah.
not there, they're not. And there's a difference. And I do think there's a difference. I understand the idea of needing representation. And I'm not a gatekeeper of anything that has to do with it. Shoot, if y'all want to take all of this off my hands, take it. Um, but there's a balance of, understanding that we need representation in the media to get our message out there, and only coming out of there with your own agenda, and only that agenda. With me, speaking for myself, really, I don't. My mom is just like, you could capitalize off of this, and you could promote this and promote that, and you could. No, I'm there for one reason and one reason only. I do that, my job is done. And there are people who are out there for so many different things. Or we want to fight the power, but we also want to get money for this. We also want to capitalize off of that. We also want to do this, do that. And my goal is to make everything free. And here we are, people just running for the money. And so, there are people who are there just for cameras. There are people who are there just for a check, just to cut a check. There are people who, I won't do this unless you pay me, period. But
Mhm.
I think that there should be a balance of understanding, when there's time to do things for the good of it, or for the betterment of the community, and when you need to know your worth and understand that there should be some there. So there's a balance, but there are definitely people who be on the other side of the yin and the yang.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. It's definitely people who I couldn't have said it better myself. It's definitely people who only show up for the publicity and not when it gets hard, when it gets rough, when, you know, things are going bad, you still gotta show up and do what you have to do. So yeah.
Yeah. Uh Thank you both for that. I want to pivot to the things that you're proud of and passionate about that you do because you want to and not because you have to. Can you each tell me about your poetry and your music and the things that you do, which I imagine is infused with your activism in some ways? But tell me about your work as an artist.
Now you go first. You go first.
Oh my gosh. All right, all right, all right. So yeah, I'm a poet. I love my poetry. I've fallen in love with my poetry. I've just fallen back in love with my poetry. I've been writing since sixth grade. I'm gonna give you the little quick spiel.
Yeah, of
I was
course.
introduced by a teacher. My favorite teacher to this day. I don't think anyone will ever replace him. His name is Mr. K. He was teacher of the year a few years back. And in middle school, I was on his debate team, and he was like, you know what? I want to show some poetry to you guys. And he showed us some poetry, and I fell in love. It was Prentice Powell's Black is Beautiful. And since then, I've written all the time, and it was crazy. In like eighth grade, I met like two of my poetry heroes, Langston Hughes and Black Chakra, and they were like, "You're good. Come to a slam." And I was like, "Huh?" And they were like, "Yeah, you're good. Come to a slam." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And then like a few months later, I went to this. They took me to Fairfax to the slam with members of the team. And I slammed. I didn't win, but they were like, "No, you're good. You need to stick around some way, somehow." And I did, and now here I am, like a year later, and I'm on the team now. Um, and I'm a writer. Like I said, I was youth poet ambassador in 2019, and I had just been doing that ever since. And funnily enough, full circly enough, in 2019, the beginning of 2019, and no, in like the summer of 2019, Prentice Powell followed me. The first poem I ever like. I was like, oh my god, you followed me, and he has a daughter named Anaya, and in middle school I had emailed him and told him like, oh my god, I love you, and he emailed me back like a year later like, oh my god, I'm just saying this, but I love it when people email me. I love that.
That's so
He
great.
followed me, and now we're really close. I interviewed him, and he's like, Anaya, you're one of my favorite people, and I don't have a lot of those. I was like, pretty cool. And we challenge each other all the time. We encourage each other all the time. I congratulate him on like things happening in his life. He congratulates me. A really good confidant, and I've just learned so much through my poetry. I went through the people that taught me poetry, like Prentice, like Chakra, like Slangston. Those are like my heroes. And poetry just made me a better person. I could
That's
care less
awesome.
about the fame or anything like that, but it just made me a better person. My poetry grew with me. In a completely different place than I was a year ago because of my poetry, because of the people that I've surrounded myself with through poetry. And I do it in my activism. Today I performed a piece about how they want us to go back into the schools when it's not safe to reopen. And I try to just do it as much as possible. I can't do English anymore. COVID took it all away. But poetry, I can speak essays and poetry. It's my favorite way to communicate. It's the easiest way to communicate, honestly. And so yeah, I'm just in love with art. It's crazy.
And you're gonna come back and perform for us in a couple weeks.
I will. I'll be here.
I'm so excited. March 10th. Uh, awesome. Young Elder, how about you?
So for me, I'm gonna take it back like Anaya did. So I started rapping when I was in, like, let's say like seventh, no, like fifth grade is when I started listening to like rap music and getting into it, kind of like listening to songs and like learning the words and then being able to pick up on the flow and stuff like that. And it's something that I always do, I just listen to rap music. And then once I had got to high school, I'd still been rapping my whole life, doing freestyles here and there. Once I got to Heart Smiles, is when I got to high school, I joined Heart Smiles, and Heart Smiles was able to push me and see, yo, like, you're an artist, but that's also your business. So I was able to market myself, and people want to have me perform. So just like 2 years ago is when I started actually getting on stages, going places, performing places. Like, I performed for different crowds. Like, I performed for a crowd of doctors. I opened up for Slick Rick in New York. So it was all kinds of things that I was able to do, and all types of exposures that I was able to do. And it really kind of, built my confidence, because sometimes I would perform in front of a crowd that didn't really rock with my music. So it was kind of like, dang. So like things like that, being able to adapt to when people not don't necessarily love it, and also being able to handle it when everybody loves it, and you just
Mm,
gotta, like, take that in, like I had said before. But for me, like, music is not really what I want to do as a career. It's more like an outlet for me. Like, when I write poems or I write spoken word or music, it's something that I do because that's what I want to do. Like, it just comes to me naturally. But when people always say, Elder, like, we need an album, like, we need this, we need that, I'm just like, y'all, like, this is like my personal thing that I chose to share. Does that make sense? Like, this is
totally, yeah.
like my personal thing that I chose to share. And for the people who feel it and the people who appreciate it, I love that, and I really appreciate it. But as far as like being famous and being a celebrity off of it, it's not really what I'm interested in. Just because I know, like, the music industry and stuff like that is messy. So I'd rather just do things that, upfront, activism and speaking for the youth, that's upfront. You can't really get my mission misconstrued, but with music, it can get kind of messy and stuff like that. So I just do it because it's my hobby, and I know people can relate with my music. So I do it when I feel some type of way. I'll make a song about it, and that'll just be it. So yeah.
Yeah,
I
I definitely, that resonates. That the growth, or like the journey of understanding when to, like, all right, people don't fuck with my music, that's cool, that's cool, that's all right, I like it. And my poetry, I was like, oh my god, they don't like it. I remember, like, I wrote this breakup poem, and in front of the girl who broke up with me, and I think it was her girlfriend at the time, at this open mic. And like the next open mic, she spit this poem trashing the poem, and I was like, oh my god, it's so bad, I don't like it. And then I posted that same poem, and there were like people who liked it. I was like, okay, there's a balance. I have to learn the balance. But yeah, like that definitely resonates of, just it being a hobby. It's something so close. I think art is something that is so close to me. Especially, I think it's a Baltimore. I really think it's a Baltimore thing, because like it's such an
totally.
outlet. It's such an outlet that I don't want anyone to touch it. I've become this person, like, I stop slamming as much during like competitions, because of the simple fact that it took away the worth of the poem. I was like, dang, if I don't get tens, then what does that mean? Like that means this poem isn't worth like anything. So I started to like come into writing for me, like Reese, like and at any moment now I'm writing poems, just like in my sleep, in the shower. Like I wrote a poem in my head the day before and I remembered it the next day. Crazy.
That's pretty amazing.
Art, like I think art is slowly starts to like you become the art, so it's so easy to just do it now. It's crazy. So yeah. um yeah.
I'm so it strikes me so much how much, like, how giving you both are and how willing people are to take advantage of that, and how canny you both are. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but like how canny you both are about sort of setting a boundary and saying like, no, this is mine, this is my healing stuff, this is my art, and this is when I'm willing to put it out there. I'm so impressed with both of you around that. It is almost 10 minutes past when we were supposed to be done. I want to respect both of your time because you've been so generous with it and because everyone wants it. Is there anything that you all want the people watching to know about? Any last bits?
I will say, um everything that happens, I'm learning, happens for a reason. But that does not mean that things, have to happen the way they happen. Like just in terms of like trauma, I think that like over the time with like Healing City specifically, just me learning, the ropes so far of what I've learned, and just learning in life, like, that there are a lot of things that lead to things, and everything is in divine timing. But you are also in charge of your fate. You're in charge of the reality that you see and the reality that you make. Um, when you are like within yourself. So just, meditate, breathe, vibe out. I definitely think that it's very important to do like self care and self love. Uh, Very much so easier said than done. And my biggest advice is like be gentle with yourselves. I tend to put a lot of pressure on myself. And maybe I'm projecting. Maybe everyone is gentle with myself, and I need to be more gentle with myself. But I would say, just take your time. Life and time keeps moving. You just gotta move with it. Move with the breeze.
Thank you, Anaya. Very wise words.
Definitely. Definitely. I think I would just say, just speaking for the youth again, the youth are powerful and we are passionate. We're all passionate. And sometimes it may seem like we're not. Like I remember, I think I can't remember who said it before we came on, but he was like, I'm scared of the youth. And I'm like, oh why? Like, why are you scared of the youth? Like it's no reason when we we usually just react based off of our environment and the situations around us. So if anybody has a problem with the way that youth act or the way we portray ourselves, then it means we have to look within and we need to look at the actual problems because like I said, like nobody just acts out of the ordinary for no reason. We're adapting and we're trying to do everything we can, like I said, to survive.
Okay.
Okay,
Oh,
go
he
get a
can't hear
flashlight.
us.
All right, cool.
Sorry, our
Um,
tech guy is having someone, he had to call an ambulance for someone outside of his house. So there's some tech stuff going on in the background.
all
So
right, all right, get the flashlight. Oh my God, I hope you're okay. Like I was saying, like just invest in the youth for real, because the youth are the future for real. Like, of course, adults are important, but the youth are the ones that are going to carry the generation. So we need to love on our youth, care for our youth, and if they have a problem, lean on them and make sure that their problem can get fixed. Because if not, we're going to continue to see this violence. It's not going to stop. It like Frederick Douglass said. He said, it's easier to build strong children than to heal broken men, and that's so important because we all trying to focus on why is the violence. We need to look within and see what is causing the violence, and stuff like that. So yeah.
thank you so, so much. I really appreciate both of you. I'm so stoked to see both of you perform on March 10th and March 24th. And yeah, thank you so much for being here and for all the work that you're doing.
Of course, thank you for
Thank
having
you for
us.
having us.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Music with a message. And that was brought to you by the letter B for bitch.
Hey.
So, moving on. This record is real personal. It's real. It's like a lot of revelations. If you listen to this song, you'll hear my life in so many of the words, you know? Because sometimes when you're trying to be famous, this bitch, I want to be famous.
We're back, everybody.
Hello.
My goodness, I'm trying so hard not to like fangirl them the exact way that they ask people not to. But I'm so impressed.
That was a fascinating interview. Also, Elder called me out for being afraid of the youth. Yeah.
I wanted to be like, he's afraid of himself, not of the youth. Like he's afraid of not knowing how to talk.
Yeah, my issues are deep. They're complex. You know, I hold them close to myself. That was stunning, and I'd look forward to seeing both of them perform. What are we up to now, Sarah?
We're gonna make a cocktail, but first you have a public service announcement, I believe.
Jesus, what is it?
It's about how the rest of the show isn't so much for the youths.
Oh yes, from here on out, starting now, I may say things that are not okay, like syphilis, right? So if you don't want your children exposed to that kind of thing, you just pack them off.
So we are running slightly behind, which is,
Yeah.
I believe, okay.
I'm fine with it.
So you got a cocktail that you're going to walk us through today, right, Michael?
Yeah, apparently the people like cocktails. And I was thinking to myself, you could look this up on the internet, but there are some tricks. So we're going to do a little cocktail demo. And today, Sarah Sullivan, we're talking about egg white drinks, right?
Yay, egg white drinks. And I'm going to be making the modified non-alcoholic version.
I'm making a gin fizz. What are you making?
I'm making a fizz.
Right, yeah, fizz.
Yeah.
So here's the deal with egg white cocktails: is that the whole point of the egg white is that it adds texture. It doesn't really change the flavor of a drink, but it takes a drink that would otherwise, like we sell gin fizzes without the egg at the ballroom on Friday nights when it's just slamming, and that it ends up being like a slightly waterier beverage. With the egg white, it's nice and fluffy. You need that chicken fetus to get a really nice drink. So we're gonna start with the other thing you need to know is that there's stirred drinks and there's shaken drinks. Okay.
I just want to be clear. You know that an egg is not an actual chicken fetus, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. All right. Just making sure. Sorry. Keep going.
I mean, it's not that far from a chicken fetus.
That's true. You're right.
This is a shaken drink, and the reason it's a shaken drink is because it's got the fruit in it. If it doesn't have fruit, you stir it generally. James Bond is famously a sissy for the like shaken martini thing that he always orders. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to start, especially if you're experimenting, not with the base. You don't have a liquor, but the liquor we're using is Beefeater because that's what I have on my shelf right now. Don't start with that, even though a lot of times they will tell you, because if you mess up, then you got to dump out a bunch of fancy liquor when you could just be dumping out, lemon juice.
I never thought of it that way. Good job.
Thank you. I read the internet. So we're gonna start. Hold on, I gotta move my camera and see if we can get a shot of my setup.
I'm gonna try not to cut myself or smash this egg on my computer.
We're gonna start with our lemon. Okay, I got this thing, a little measuring widget. Okay, they come in different sizes. We want 3/4 of an ounce of lemon juice. I'm gonna eyeball it right into there. Also, don't do this in your book room. Books don't like lemon juice. I'm professional. So here we go. We pour it in the smaller of the two tins. They're weighted tins. They're good for shaking. Okay. Then we got our simple syrup, also cheap. I actually made this syrup, but it's in a simple syrup bottle. It's half water and half sugar. And then there's all kinds of fancy versions, but for our purposes, that's all you need. 3/4 of an ounce of that. So 3/4 and 3/4. Boom. We haven't spent any money yet, really. Okay.
I haven't spent any money yet.
That's right. Now, an egg, also cheap. Gin, not cheap. Our egg is cheap. Okay, so we're gonna crack an egg.
Yeah, how do we do this?
You take it and you go kapow, right? And you hope for the best. pow. Oh shit, pow. All right, and here's the goal: is that if you're just using this egg, it's going to get a little messy. You crack it. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. You crack it so that you hopefully have 2 workable shells, and you hold it over your tin, and then you toss the yolk back and forth while the goo, the egg white nastiness, drops like snot into the tin. That is stringy and gross. Excellent. Oh God. Oh, don't get any egg white in there, but if you do, don't be afraid of it. All right. So here we go. I'm clean. Good job, Sarah. So are you just making this without gin? Is that the move?
Yeah, but I'm gonna add a little bit at the end.
Okay. You take your gin, you pour it in. 2 ounces. Okay, so it's more. Oh shit! I'm spilling stuff. What a mess. What a.
Well, while you spill things, I'll explain to everyone. I'm just doing this without the gin, so it's literally just egg white, lemon juice, and simple syrup. You can mess with the proportions a little bit to make up for the fact that there's no gin, or you don't have to.
And a lot of the fruity drinks are great without liquor. You can't do like a no liquor martini, but you can definitely do stuff with fruit. All right, so now we got all of our ingredients in there in the tin, right? And we're going to do the famous dry shake, no ice. We're gonna dry shake it, and that's supposed to emulsify it or mix these parts together. And also, from my personal experience, it keeps it from exploding because these things build up a little pressure. So you do this and you shake it, and there's just no way that you're not gonna feel like you're jerking off a giant of some kind. Lean into that. All right, it's onanistic and sort of empowering.
I just realized I don't have ice.
Oh, I got ice. You imagine ice.
I'll imagine ice.
Sometimes it'll give you a little spray after you've done shaking it. So watch out for that. That's the dry shake. Then you put ice in, which is the main purpose of that is to get it cold, mix it a little more, but mostly cold.
Use the leftover ice from my juice.
You shake the shit out of this. Observe. The more the better with these drinks. The point is to get a frothy head happening. There we go. All right, now I'm gonna do this up so you can see. You put your little Hawthorne strainer on top of the widget, and you pour, and you hope that it's nice and frothy, which it is. It's frothy, folks.
Mine's frothy too. I like to add, especially when there's no alcohol in it, but honestly, even when there is, I like to add sage to this drink. I think it's really delicious. I have no idea if my mixologist friends would agree or not. But when you add an herb like this to the drink, you're supposed to, I forget what it's called, but you're supposed to put it in the palm of your hand and smack it some.
Spank it.
Yeah, it like activates the flavors or whatever. And then I put it around the edge of the glass, and then I plop it right on top. And now it has a hint of sage, the sage aroma, if you will.
Yeah. Well, hold yours up to the camera. I want to see it. Look at the frothiness. That's good. You want that little bit. You don't need a big, thick slab. That's weird and pretentious. And then you got a nice drink to drink.
Totally delicious. Good job, Michael. And what is this called again?
So this is a gin fizz, or in your case, just a gin fizz. Hold the gin. Fizz is and flips. They're called sometimes. There's a whole bunch of them with egg whites. This is one of the simplest ones. You can do a whiskey or a gin. A lot of the other ones involve sweet liquors, and they get to be sort of like a dessert item. You could have 2 of these without your teeth feeling like they're wearing a sweater. But most of them, I'm sort of like, I had one and I shared half of it with someone else. And then I went and felt bad about myself.
Yeah. And usually you add a little bit of fizz on the top. Did you add yours?
I forgot. It actually makes it a little fizzier. Yeah.
It's especially good for the non-alcoholic one because you can change the volume as much as you want.
Oh, look at the voluminous fizzing.
Yeah, so usually you just add a little bit on top, but if you're making a non-alcoholic one, you can add some more, and it makes it more carbonated.
But Sarah, there's one thing we definitely need to discuss with people, which is that if you are, say, behind the bar at Mobtown and it's very busy and you're cranking out drinks, how do you feel if someone orders a drink like this?
Are you asking how I feel or how you feel?
I'm
I'm just kidding. Don't order a drink like this if there's 700 people in line behind you. This
it's
is a drink.
actually bad manners.
You order a drink like this, at Harlan's or at some like fancy hole in the wall place. You don't order it at Ram's Head Live when they're just like, please, can I make you a vodka soda?
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. And they
just
cost
shake
more
it
money
twice. And yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're paying for those chicken abortions.
for the froth. Oh my gosh. Okay. All
I
right.
hope the kids are asleep.
Well, with that, I think we're going to transition to some music. Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah. All right. Well,
That was pretty damn good for the first try. Usually motherfuckers add D's, E's. Y'all did good. We're going to try one more time though for good measure. When I say Z, 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 y'all say? Z, 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 Z. All right, let's go, Paul. Now this for my weed smokers. And this for all my woke people. Everybody's woke when it's too late. I need y'all to put your hands up one time, y'all. Hey, if it wasn't for these trends, if it wasn't for these trends, if it wasn't for these trends, everybody's so sleepy. Z, 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 Z. If it wasn't for these trends, there you go. If it wasn't for these trends, what? If it wasn't for these trends, everybody's so sleepy. Z, 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 Z. Black girl lost, black boy lost. In class looking at the blackboard lost. Ready for a future that includes no jobs. Rotten Apple could have been the next Steve Jobs. But instead of Silicon Valley, the focus on Louis Vuitton bags and Audis, Gucci and Buscemi, sneakers with the Crocs then. You a cold-blooded boy in that long champ. Look, champ, my dreams in life, they all differ. From that young boy sitting in them class pictures. The life get you caught up, drunk off the vigor. You took 2 shots and can't handle your liquor. Nowadays, I'll be playing the background. Being a celebrity is totally whack now. The real shit is back now. Bond Street District, that's where we at. If it wasn't for these trends, put them up. If it wasn't for these trends, put them up. If it wasn't for these trends, everybody's so sleepy. Z, 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 Z. If it wasn't for these trends, if it wasn't for these trends, if it wasn't for these trends, everybody's so sleepy.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Mobtown Live. It is my great pleasure to introduce the one, the only, Cierra Lione. So I'm going to say a couple things. Cierra is a multimedia artist. She is a light and a force. And her music is powerful and tender. I met Cierra at City Beach. Where is that where you are now?
No, right now I'm at my shop and safe space called Healing.
City Beach is a haven of the underground and the weird people like us. So whenever you have a chance, you should see Cierra live. But we're gonna do the next best thing. She's here with Gino Hanna, and let's see what else. Welcome, Cierra, to Mobtown Live.
Woo! Yay!
How y'all doing tonight?
I'm feeling good. I'm excited to sing.
So you are going to do a little acoustic song for us to open up. Can you tell us what this song is?
This song is called Staying Alive. Making it through the odds, basically. I wrote it when I quit my job, so.
Hell yeah. All right. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Take it away.
I'm not quite for sure about the things I had yesterday. All I know is for sure that change anyway. I fall in love with the shield and how it makes me feel. Hey, catching waking up to my life. Oh, what I know is real. I've been running around, gotta make my ends meet. But I need to relax. Some days I barely even eat. It's kinda messed up. How dare I let me get so weak? But I'm so tired, feel uninspired. But I gotta keep moving before I expire. 'Cause staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive. I didn't lost my job, walk around in my sweats. I didn't brush my teeth and my hair is a mess. Where is my weed? How dare I let me get depressed? But I'm so tired, feel uninspired. But I gotta keep moving before I expire. 'Cause staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive, staying alive.
Yeah. I mean, that's all we can really do right now, right? Like, that's the job. Cierra, where can, let me ask this. What are you working on right now?
I am working on an album, my one and only album. Jeans don't like when I say that, but I have different versions, but I feel like I want to give my all to something really major. It's called New Dawn, New Day, and it's coming.
It's coming. Where can people find your music?
Well, right now I have a single out called Soft. It's on Bandcamp, and you can find it in my bio on my IG at Cierra. But that's the only thing for now. It's a few videos, but I'm still immersed in the art of it all. So
Hell yeah. I mean, like, I remember the first time I saw you live and I was like, power.
I try to tap my source.
Yeah, I hear that. I think you got a good line in. What do you want? So what do you want to say? I think the first video we have is Move. Is there anything you want to say by way of introduction?
Moving. So I'm a Gemini and I'm always moving. And I use that energy to create this song. So that's all. Moving, keep moving on, moving forward. Never looking back.
All right, let's hit it.
I am moving fast forward. I won't pause to try to rewind. I'm not going back on my time. You brought me to my heart. I fell out through my soul. You told me
Yeah. Yeah. I love that song. It's, if you're not moving, you're dead. Right? Always moving. Um, how did it come to you? Like, do you remember writing it?
Something probably was getting on my nerves, and I probably decided to move on from it, most likely.
You said you're at your shop, your space healing. Could you tell us about that?
Well, it's a great space for women of color. Well, everyone, but women of color. And we sell natural products, art, just everything. We grow herbs, and we talk. And
Where, if people wanted to reach out and to you, where could they do that?
you can find everything through Sierra Leone. I know that I have so many avenues. Instagram, you can find in my bio, you can find all of my information. Oh, and at Healing too. HE9LINN.
I mean, can you say that one more time? Because you're cutting out a little bit, and I want make sure people know.
HE9LINN.
And just is this a recent thing for you, like a new thing?
No. I've always been curating like safe circles and spaces for women. So I just redesigned it. That's all. And made it bigger and more impactful.
Beautiful. We have one more track from Cierra. And is there anything you want to say by way of introduction?
What I want to say is, I don't know. I guess you can just play it.
All right, let's do this thing.
I only get iffy when it's iffy. The damn police trying to stick me. This world really is 50-50. That's why I got all my crystals with me. Got my young kings trying to cuss now. 5 years old screaming bust down. I don't really know who I could trust now. I remember it was you and now it's us now. And I ain't into your pledge of allegiance. When you take a stand I stay seated. When you raise your hand I don't see it. Cause you just shot my mans and he ain't mean it. And what the fuck we really gonna do now? When they tryna bring guns to the school ground. I tell you one thing, I got a tool now. I remember it was us and now it's you now. They stay trying to kill us, it's getting scary. But I'm a seed, I get planted and I bury. Bitch, I'm way more organic when I'm wary. I been got it out the mud, check the carrots. I will not be simplified or desensitized. You will not put flow right on my mental side. Yeah, I'm a Gemini, Gemini. I can see the whole world straight from 4 eyes. And it's not just in the church, but it is in the government. Better know your worth before they discover it. Sierra Leone, bitch, you can't have my government. I'm hot like a oven, and niggas not touching me. Everything you learn, bitch, I've been learned. And if you looking for your God, you better discern. Straight cashing those checks, you better own it, yeah. Cause I just copped a pad and it was furnished. I put the pen to the pad like I'm learning. I'm hot like a furnace, like Usher, you burn. And they be like, don't say that shit, but I'ma buy back the hood cause I raised that bitch.
First off, miss me with the bluff shit. I ain't amazed, I was raised on the tough shit. A tough nigga killed this girl on some fuck shit. You tough niggas make me Earl on that dumb shit. We lit up the sage, you was irritated. That mean that it was working, so you dissipated. This time I'ma go get mine for vengeance. Chris lines with an intense grind dimension. Cook a porky pig before he can get his pension. And we gon' cruise off up in Maxwell Ascension.
I lost my mind and then I got it back. You can either thank God or thank Shepherd Pratt. Either way, now that we here, let's go epic with it. And flex with it on a tier, they can never pivot. Call them and tell them get it poppin' when I touch down. I know you thought it was just me, but it's
I
us
only
now.
get wishy when it's washy. Since around 16, they tried to off me. But right beside my magazine, I got a coffee. Now I finally got some cream for this toffee. You go show to show, I go toe to toe. Put me at the top of the totem pole. I'm the real rap niggas waiting on. I ain't had to rock the wages to roll the boat. Everything I say is fucking quotable. Put my city on the map, that's what shoulders for. Just make sure you don't break my fucking clavicle. When they go left, I go lateral. It's about longevity, you can't get ahead of me. Wanna know the game, better study my pedigree. I'm hotter than flames and I'm higher than the heavens. Don't know my name, I'ma make sure you remember me. This is Sierra Leone, and it's about time for me to go home. Cause right around here I'm spitting off of the dome, just trying to get me some racks so you can see what I'm on. Cause when I'm sipping it's strong, when I'm spitting the songs, not the one in the lyrics, but the one in the Bible. Better heighten your spirit and lower your iris, trying to get me a million to flex on my rivals.
Damn.
First time I saw that.
Gino, that gentle looking soul in the video in the hat was shredding. And a couple of notable Mobtown live alums I saw making appearances. That was Easy Jackson, Josh Stokes on the drums, Rich Colm on the bass, and we have Gino Hanna here, and the one and only Sierra Leone.
And maybe we'll release this later, but we were just dancing, all of us.
we were rocking out. Sierra, thank you so much for making this music, what you're doing for our city, and we are so honored to have you on the show. Any last words, words of wisdom?
Be yourself.
All right.
Be your goddamn self.
Be your goddamn self.
And yeah, that's it.
That's
where's
it.
All right. Look out for Sierra Leone's album, TBD, coming at you. Can't wait. And go see this fucking band live when we're all allowed to. Good night, guys. Good night.
Parachute has deployed and we are seeing significant deceleration.
Heat shield set. Back shell set.
Current velocity is 83 meters per second. About to conduct the side crane maneuver. Touchdown confirmed. Perseverance safely on the surface of Mars, ready to begin seeking the sands of past life.
And we're back.
Space, man. Space.
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 I've been watching The Expanse, so I know everything about the Mars landing.
You and my dad.
Yeah, we got to catch up about that.
One of the cool
Me
things
and
I
Bill.
know about the Mars rover, I saw yesterday that they had, those minivans with the picture like the mom and dad and the kids and the puppy. They've got that on the rover of all the previous rovers that NASA has landed.
Aw.
Yeah, it's really cute.
That's pretty cute. Well, Sierra Leone was awesome.
Yeah.
That was, and then watching like all these other locally famous people just show up was also very exciting.
Yeah.
I was like, I know them and I know them.
Yeah, it's kind of a who's who. I think that Cierra is on Easy's new record label, who everyone should follow.
Huh.
I can talk, I promise. It's called Epic Fam Entertainment. You can find them on Instagram, and they're doing all kinds of dope shit.
That's awesome. And what'd you all think of the youngins?
I feel like there's a grain of hope where before I had none. Like, Sarah, what did I say to you this morning? I think we were talking about how it's like you wake up and you're just like, why? But
Yeah,
now,
the old excited for the day and then slowly realize that there's nothing to be excited for and that it's just the endless abyss.
and we're all slowly dying. Yeah, they gave me, I was like, maybe it's worth it.
But talking about, I'm so glad they brought up getting paid for their, to sum it up, getting paid for their poetry. Because how old are these people? And they've taken this upon them because clearly no one else has. Like, we got to hold them up and support them as much as possible because they're the change makers. It's inspiring.
Yeah.
Michael, any thoughts?
Michael, as one who has confessed of being afraid of the youth.
This is therapy. Get over again. I totally get what you're saying, that there is a sense of hope, because like I'm kind of tired and beat down by basically, like the longer life goes on, the more that little pieces of your soul are chopped off and eaten by lunatics who don't benefit from it, but this is like what they do. And then you realize the children, they're not chopped up yet, right? And then they'll carry that for a while I'm just sort of like moldering in my apartment as an old man, eating cat food. That's really awesome. But the other thing I was thinking is like all the kids have this baseline of sanity. And by kids, I mean, anyone under 25. That's really inspiring and cool. And that the only way the sort of like evil fucks stay in power is just like extending their careers into their 90s and hundreds. Like no one knows how old Mitch McConnell is, right? He's just going on forever because they know that
he's
his
actually
children
dead.
are coming.
In turtle
He's a
years.
ghost.
It's different.
In turtle years. So hopefully, like maybe we'll see at some point, and I don't wish the death of evil fucks, but they'll sort of just like disintegrate when sunlight hits them.
I mean, we got one recently, right?
Oh shit!
Russian
Fuck
Mobtown
him.
Live does not condone. All lives are valuable
Death.
here at Mobtown Live.
Well, valuable is
It's my perspective is more, it's gonna happen to all of us.
Yeah.
So some people might as well happen.
Let's be real about it.
My perspective is that pious notion of like, it is like always have respect for every single human life. Like, yes. Also, like I have a limited bandwidth of who I'm going to pay attention to and care about their death, and it sure ain't that guy. Like, there's a lot of mean people who I'll be sadder about their death.
Yeah, totally. Agreed.
I'm curious, what is the precipice you go over from young and hopeful to moldering cat food? Like, when does that happen?
Well, it was
For
last
Michael, it was
week, right?
23.
Yeah, well, cast your mind back.
Michael was unsupervised this week, so we would get like Bear Grylls survival updates from Michael throughout the week, just in various states of. Can I say states of shovelness? Does that work?
When I'm
States of
solo,
shovel?
I do go feral. I sort of just roam around here, like mumbling and growling and yowling. But there was a cat present as well, so that got weird. We were sort of like circling each other.
Wait, Sarah, say the thing you said earlier about the new headphones that he got. Just wandering the neighborhood.
Oh yeah, I see Michael wandering the neighborhood with his noise canceling headphones on, and I just am so afraid someone's going to sneak up on him.
Abby recommended that shit to me. It is a revelation because, and I'll say this again, this is not a healthy outlook, but it is just me being honest and vulnerable with you, our viewers. I cannot deal with other humans, and these things are helping me do that. Like as I walk down the street and people are whistling and smiling, I'm like, I can't hear you, and then I run.
That's hilarious and awesome. Quickly, since we're at the end of the show, next week we have Delegate Juanica Fisher. We also have the band
Opt Out with
Opt Out.
Tessa Keys and Patrick McMinn.
Cool.
Making synthy sounds.
They're a synth duo. So you should tune in next week. You should like and subscribe if you haven't done that. If you're able to send us $10, do it. If you're not, cool, don't do it. And with that, thank you all so much for watching and for being here this evening.
Bye.
Bye.
Girls of the D. The dream costs money, but the drama come free. Nowadays I be playing the background, cause being a celebrity is totally whack now. The real shit is back now. Bond Street District, that's where we at. Make some noise for Paul Hudson. If it wasn't for these trends, everybody's so sleepy. Z. If it wasn't for these trends, everybody's so sleepy. Z. All right. Now before we get out of here, put your hands forward. I need you to expend that energy to each other. You know, my name is DDM. We are Bond Street District. And put that energy towards your partner. Don't wait for the pastor to come to you now. Hey. Now bounce. Come on, bounce. Come on. We are Bond Street District. I want y'all to follow us at bondstreetdistrict.com. Hey. Make sure you follow us on all social media.
This is a test of the emergency broadcast system. Had there been an actual emergency, your local station, in conjunction with the relevant federal authorities, would have broadcast the following pre-recorded announcement.
It's time to bail, cause the petrol stop. Hey,
jump, cause it just got me popped.